life, you go big or go home. 600 plus mile round trip on a garage built electric vehicle, it's quite the challenge. But attempting to do it while keeping up with a large caravan of gas powered vehicles, well, that's big. And it's exactly the challenge worthwhile for someone like me. My name is Jehu Garcia. I'm a business owner, self-professed engineer, and an overall dreamer. For the past 2 years, I've been building my dream car, something that retains all the elegance of the classic 50s design, but at the same time make up the latest the modern technology offers. Now, how do you exactly do that? By making it electric. Follow me on my journey through all the struggles, the challenges, but ultimately the satisfaction of growth and success. I know what you're thinking. What's so special about an electric car that goes 300 miles on a single charge? My neighbor's Model S does it. So does his neighbor's. And the guys across the street. Yes, our national hero and my very own personal idol Elon Musk has proven that electric cars are indeed cool and capable machines able to compete with their gas-powered counterparts. But the guy dropped $300 million in research and development by the time he had a working prototype of a roadster. By the time production Model S's were rolling out of the factory, you bet the investment was in the billions. So yes, it has been proven that if you're ambitious enough and just so happen to also be a millionaire, almost anything is possible, including sending your own rockets into space. Luckily, I'm not a super talented millionaire. Instead, I'm just a regular dude unlucky to be born on the wrong side of the international border. Instead of a classroom, I spent the first 11 years of life running around the poverty-stricken streets of Tijuana. In fact, not only am I a high school dropout, but if you were to add up all the years I spent in school, you could almost count them with one hand as they sum up to a whopping 6. So my approach to this challenge is, you may say, a bit different. The question: can an educated wannabe bottom feeder like myself build an electric car capable of a 600-mile round trip using recycled dead laptop batteries? Well, we shall see. Last we saw, I was racing the clock, spending the last few hours desperately soldering away, trying to finish my homemade battery. Eventually, I did, only to run home, load up, get my dogs ready, and hit the road. The plan is simple: get a 6-hour lead ahead of the group to allow me to charge at the 100-mile mark, then meet up the caravan in the AM and tag along the rest of the way until we either reach our destination or run out of juice somewhere in the middle of the desert. Around 11 p.m., we head east on Interstate 10, leaving behind civilization. The further east we get, the more desolate the road becomes, and eventually we find ourselves in the middle of the desert with windmills to our right and a mountain to climb to the left. Highway 62 and its climb seem steeper this time around, but perhaps it's just my nerves. The chosen pit stop is located in a place called Yucca Valley, an RV park by the name of Joshua Tree Lake. Equipped with 50 amp 220 volt plugs, it's for now the best way to charge depleted batteries. I had been unable to get a hold of anyone in the phone to set up our arrival, so I wasn't even sure we would be able to do our thing here. But luckily for us, the plugs are not locked and they have power. It's gonna be okay.
Oh, yes. Power. We will make it.
Speaking of batteries, let's get technical for a minute. I know I've been stringing you guys along for what now seems like years on the promise of the ever-sweet victory on this recycled battery thing. Some of you, tired of waiting, have lost faith. The fat man has even not only declared me a failure, but has actually done a full 180 on me, going from loving me and everything I do to spending a large portion of his week actively hating and loathing everything and everyone around me. I've become accustomed to the weekly name-calling and the warning to others of my evil ways. But I endure, and here finally a chance for vindication, as the eSamba rolls at least partly on recycled laptop battery cells. Partly? Yeah, I know. The details have been blurry to say the least, but today we set the record straight. The eSamba currently runs on a mixed chemistry battery pack. Originally, I installed a string of 37 bricks of lithium iron phosphate for a total of 11 kilowatt hours of battery. I then purchased another 37 bricks and installed them in a separate string for an additional 11 kilowatts. Then one day, going up a hill, I killed 2 cells, one due to poor balancing and the other manufacturer defect. I then removed 2 cells off each string, leaving me with 2 strings of 35 cells and a combined capacity of around 20 kilowatt hours. Then we got our hands on some Tesla modules. I installed 4 modules, 3 kilowatts each, and then another 4 for an additional 24 kilowatt hours. So the eSamba currently has semi-permanently installed 44 kilowatt hours of battery. Adding to that my freshly built 4 kilowatt hour range extender recycled laptop module, that brings us to a grand total of 48 kilowatt hours of storage energy under the hood. So how did I connect all that power? All pretty much parallel to each other. If you do the math, you realize the voltage works. Fully charged to 126.5 volts, all cells are pretty much where they need to be to deliver full capacity. The job of charging the whole thing lands to an Elcon 5 kilowatt charger. Will it work? Well, so far so good. Seven hours later, the sun is out and it's time to meet the caravan down the road. Quick stop at the gas station for our electrically challenged bus companion, and off we go. We are headed to a place almost literally in the middle of nowhere, the junction of Highway 177 and 62. We arrive early. Bruce and Wayne are happy to stretch their legs. And I celebrate that I made it to the next point. Eventually, our convoy arrives, and as I do some math taking into account how much energy the eSamba has used up until this point, I realize it's going to be close, and I decide to cheat and get towed from this point to Parker, 40 miles ahead, so that I can roll into Havasu with the rest of the group on my own power.
You made it, huh?
Yeah,
This is the pre-show show.
there you go.
It seems I will hitch a ride with Doug and his awesome 1954 barn door eSamba bus. This vehicle right here, it's the holy grail of eSambas. Super rare, super cool, and worth a fortune, especially in this condition. While on the way, Doug points out that it finally reached 78,000 original miles, and so it's only appropriate to celebrate with the classic Hangs on the Air dance. "20 minutes later, we arrive at Parker and I jump on the Samba once again to enjoy the last stretch of the trip. 40 miles of hilly and twisty road along the Colorado River. This is by far the best stretch to enjoy the caravan, as you can see the other vehicles in your group. And just like that, we arrive to Havasu. Once again, Bruce and Wayne are happy to be able to stretch their legs and settle down for a weekend full of camping. London Bridge Bullies, also known as Buses by the Bridge, started as a split-window campout event. Over the years, though, many other non-split buses have joined in the fun, and it is now a 4-day camping event held each year over the Martin Luther King Day weekend at Windsor Fort area of Lake Havasu State Park.
Dude, I heard you might leave, man.
No, I'm sticking around.
Included in the event, entertainment for the young, old, and everyone in between, who, by the way, come from all over the world. In its 20th year, it is one of those events that you must attend at least once. Among the notable activities, you can enter the chili cookout contest, like Phil here, who takes pride over the meticulous process to get his recipe down to perfection. Perfection he'll undoubtedly need, as we hear competition is fierce this year. Ultimately, though, the real winners are the crowd who get to sample a dozen or so recipes of chili. If cooking is not your thing, you could instead enter the beanbag tournament. If competition is not your thing, you can always try hot air ballooning. There's the swap meet where you can find all those hard to get bus parts. Of course, the best part comes at the end of the day, when you sit and enjoy the sunset. Grab a few bottles of this stuff, sit around the campfire and talk shop.
There was a piece of camera by the foot.
Camera that there is actually on her.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi remote
There we go.
like thing where it just like something internal just goes. You know, they're like,
Oh, Wayne's looking at him like,
That's the other thing they do.
he's old and getting sleepy, and he's
Oh, shoot, I'm first like,
ah, there's this good side. Yeah.
Ask your questions.
8:35.
Now you're here in front of everybody. Ask your.
The first night, I plug into one of the RV NEMA 1450 plugs available right by the stage where the raffle is held each year. The rest of the days, I didn't have to worry about it. So how the batteries do, you ask? Well, Even though I cheated and got towed for 40 of the 266-mile trip, they performed very well, I'd say. No heat, no sparks, and the voltage checked out on my multimeter. Of course, the real question is, will it make it back without any help? Using an online Google elevation tool shows that the trip back will actually be more challenging as Rancho is a few hundred feet higher than Havasu City. Making the uphill trip back is then the real test. To better my odds, I left Havasu a couple of hours ahead of the caravan. My plan is to find one of the 2 spots available at Parker, charge for 2 hours, and then join the rest of the group as we make our way back into California. From Parker to Joshua Tree Lake, it's only 126 miles, but taking into account the whole uphill thing makes this the most challenging part of the trip. Around 8 p.m., we pulled into the same RV park we'd used just 5 days before. We even got the same spot. My amp hour counter says there was still 100 amp hours left in the battery. If that's to be believed, that would mean that the old eSamba is roughly consuming just under 300 watts per mile, and that the 48 kilowatt hour pack should actually give us around 160 real-world miles of range. It also means that my 4 kilowatt hour range extending DIY laptop pack is responsible for only 13 of those miles. After a 6-hour nap, we finally hit the road again for the last 100-mile stretch. We arrived home around 3 a.m., 5 hours behind the rest of the group. So was it worth it, you ask? I believe so. We proved the point. Sure, the math says we probably could have made it without the DIY battery pack. But reality doesn't always agree with math on paper, and that's why experiments like this are needed. It worked. We didn't burn, explode, or die like so many said we would. Instead, we had loads of fun, and we proved that if you ignore those who make fun of you, sometimes you can achieve the goals you set yourself. This episode of the Electric Samba Project is brought to you by IC360. Available on both Android and iOS platforms, IC360 lets you connect with businesses and individuals near you. Whether you are looking for professional services or to find deals on the classified section, IC360 is the app for you. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure to catch next week's episode for more Electric Samba adventures. Next week, bye. Folks, if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the conversation down below by leaving a comment. If you don't, then also leave me a comment so I can make these videos better. Thank you.